to Elliott. Oh, bicycle!
The shot, Bedoya with a goal, 1-0 Union.
Hey everyone, welcome inside Union Insider, presented by Bimbo Bakeries USA. I'm Marisa and with me as always are Sebastian Letou and Sheanon Williams. Fellas, as they say, all good things have to come to an end, and for the Union this weekend, that meant their 9-match unbeaten streak was snapped by the San Jose Earthquakes on Saturday night, a 2-1 loss out in California. It was the Union's first loss in over 2 months, first loss to San Jose in almost 10 years. I know you both have a lot of grievances. This is a safe space amongst the three of us and our friends at home. What stood out to you the most about this loss?
It was just a very bad performance from the team. I think from the start they were not really into the rhythm, into the game, a little bit late, give up an early goal again, which we all know doesn't really help the team when they do that. But then you can see like the play of the team was not really on point, lots of missing passes, we didn't see a lot, not really a lot of chances, in the game. We didn't see a lot of Gazdag, which is one of the best players in the team. So a lot of things, I don't know if it's due of the time difference, playing on the West Coast, for the first time for them this year, but it was not really the Union we knew and who could have get a good result.
To piggyback off that, I thought they were really disjointed, especially at the beginning of the game. You could see that San Jose came into the game and they really started to boss the game and take control of it early. Then, as the Union started to get into the game, was after the goal. They had a good rest of the half then, and then from there they were able to take that into halftime. Unfortunately, they weren't able to sustain it and keep it going. Also, it was interesting to see that they looked like they got out of that back three that they've been in, and that's been working for them and been really successful for them. So I'm interested to see where they go from here. Obviously, they're going to have some missing players now with Andre going away, Damian Lowe going away. So we'll see how they regroup now and try to get on another track.
So the team switched back to that 4-4-2 diamond because Damian Lowe had to come off with a muscle injury. They put in Jack McGlynn and then they brought Kai Wagner back. So are you saying you wish they played with a 3-back with that personnel?
Yeah, obviously every week you go in with a game plan, and I'm sure that when they prepared for San Jose, they prepared in a back three. So to switch that mid-game isn't easy. To their credit, I thought they responded and they played well. Obviously, the game had then gotten tied at that point, so they kicked on for the rest of the half. I thought they had a really good chance at the end of the half to even get another goal and go into the half leading 2-1. Unfortunately, bad miss by Carranza, who at this point everybody's expecting to score that. But it's interesting to see that they were so ready to get out of it and switch mid-game, especially as they had some players back, and Brandon Craig, who they've been talking about wanting to see minutes. Matt Real played the midweek game against Montreal, and I thought did well with Kai sliding into the center back role. So they had options, and they decided to go with Jack McGlynn, who we all know isn't a wing back, is more of a midfielder. So obviously something that they had discussed, maybe something that they had seen in the game, and they decided to go that way.
And you said Gazdag didn't get on the ball enough for either of you. How do you fix that? What is he supposed to be doing?
I mean, he has to come, of course, from him to maybe come a bit lower to try to get the ball, just, get a little touch to kind of get into the game, because if you don't touch the ball for 30 minutes, it's very hard for an offensive player to get the confidence you need, especially in playing away. San Jose was, like we say, very, very good team, well organized. It's very hard to find the space between the lines. So maybe sometimes go low, get the ball to kind of show your teammates, hey, I'm here, I kind of want the ball. But in the same time too, I think the defense needs to do a better job to try to see where he's on the field, to try to find his feet, find the ball. And I think the opportunity we got at the 48 minutes is where a combination between Bueno and him, who give it back to the box. It could have been a great assist, and Bueno cut it back to Carranza, who had a big miss. But it was kind of the first time we saw Gazdag involved into the offense, and it's a little bit too late, especially when you have the number 10 of the team and you need to really help offensively. But the energy of the team was not here. I think it was really like a big missing, very late, in the challenge at the beginning of the game. And as soon as they got the goal score against, it's where you saw the team kind of reacted. Got a good goal on the set pieces with the first assist of Kai Wagner, which is a positive, for the team. But then they kind of went back into their rhythm and didn't really play at the level they are supposed to be, because I don't think San Jose was a very, very good team. It's not like they deserve the win. They just play at their level, but the Union didn't really show what they are made of and the way they play in the past 9 games.
It's time now for our first team report presented by Green Mountain Energy. The Union are off this weekend, but will be back on the road on Wednesday to take on Orlando City SC. Earlier this week, head coach Jim Curtin talked about the team getting some rest before they head down south.
Yeah, look, I think our last stretch of 10 games has been really strong. We've set ourselves up in a good spot in the table. it's been a real busy run. A lot of games in a short amount of time with the Champions League, the 6 extra games sprinkled in. So it's a good time to get a break, to get some guys back healthy, to have some guys go with the national team and come back with confidence. And then also now it's an opportunity to work on things individually. So it's one of the few weeks that we've had recently where I can talk to each player and have them focus on getting a little bit better themselves and not maybe think about the team as much. But we also still have in mind in 1 week we have a really tough Orlando opponent, and it's always difficult to go down there in the heat and play in the summer.
Remember that nice little 13-match home unbeaten streak the Union had? Well, Orlando snapped that back in March, the last time these two teams met. And as of now, Orlando is in their own unbeaten stretch, unbeaten in their last 6 matches. How did the Union return the favor and break this little stretch that they're on?
I mean, there is definitely a good feeling of revenge for the Union, especially like the way they beat the Union at the beginning of the year was kind of not really in a good rhythm. Remember, it was a cold night, the team was not really playing well, and Orlando counter-attacked very well and scored 2 goals to win 2-1. So I think the mentality of the team to go there, we have a little chip on their shoulder to say, hey, you beat us in our ground, we are going to try to do the same, in your own stadium. But it's a very good team, very well organized as well. They love to, let's say, go in counter-attack, even when they play at home. They're very fast, winger with Angulo and Torres who really take their chances. Pereira is the number 10 who can really give good balls. So they need to be careful if they play at 3 to make sure, they cover, the kind of space between the fullbacks, but in the same time, kind of get the rhythm of the game and try to beat them at their own game. I think, the counter-attack will be on as well for the Union, and they can really score some good goals. And I hope, for Ura to see him more taking the space that we see him in the game against San Jose.
In that first meeting between Orlando and Philly didn't have a lot of roster availability. Same sort of deal next week because they're not going to have Damian Lowe and they're not going to have Andre Blake. How much of an effect is that going to have on how this plays out?
It definitely affects the group anytime you start to miss key players in the group, players that play week in, week out. So losing 2 players that are definitely not going to be available is tough. That being said, they now have a good stretch of time to prepare and to get ready. They've known that these players are leaving as well, so they're going to be coming in ready. Some guys are going to get some chances that they deserve and that they're going to have to step up, just like Damian Lowe has stepped up and become one of the Union's better players, I think, this season. I'm hoping that somebody else will take that role and really step up and help this team win games.
So does this mean they're not going to be playing in a 3-back since Lowe won't be available? What do you think?
We'll have to talk to Jim about it. We'll have to see.
You don't think personnel-wise it would work, or?
I mean, it's going to be interesting just because now they have kind of a big week, to prepare for this game. I think it's going to, like Sheanon said, recess about, we are mid-season, who is feeling good, who is feeling not. Maybe I will think probably go back into a back 4. I think it will be like the safer for him because he knows to play, especially if Martinez is coming back into the mix as a number 6. The way, especially Orlando play, it might be safer to play in the back because, like I said, they have a very clean counter-attack, very fast wingers on the side, so it might be a safer bet defensively, knowing Andre is not here as well. It's a huge miss for the team in a goal, so kind of like help the team defensively first, so then they can probably counter-attack. I think it will be my choice to kind of go back at 4.
And that does it for this week's First Team Report. We're stepping away for a bit, but first, let's take a look at This Week in Union History presented by Premier Orthopedics. This week in 2018, the Union defeated the New York Red Bulls in the Open Cup round of 16 by a score of 2-1. The team would advance all the way to the finals of that year's Open Cup, where they would fall to the Houston Dynamo. We're back with Throwback Thursday, presented by United Concordia. On the final day of the 2017 season, the Union hosted Orlando City and routed them 6-1. All 6 goals were scored on braces by Elsinho, Fafa Picot, and CJ Sapong. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Marisa, that's Seba, that's Sheanon, and the Union are traveling down to Orlando next week. So for that road trip, I'm going to ask these two to hand over their keys to the game presented by Subaru. Seba, your key.
So for this game, I think it's very important for the team to limit losing the ball in the dangerous area. We saw, like when they play away, New York City FC, Martinez losing the ball, who created a goal for New York City FC. Then it was a good reaction with the 2 goals of Carranza in the injury time of the first half. But the team needed like a goal to react. And it started with the ball losing in half. We saw the same thing on the second goal of San Jose this weekend. Carranza coming low, losing the ball, come back to Trauco, who had an amazing strike and a great goal for San Jose, but it started by losing the ball on top of our box. So if they can limit those type of mistakes out of the back trying to build and sometimes, maybe just clear the ball, don't try to always play, I think the team will have a better chance to win this game because the players of Orlando are very good to counter-attack. They are fast, they are quick, and they can really score on the mistake of the Union. So let's not give up the goals with our mistake. Let's get goal against them, against us, because of the way the other team play, and it will be, I think, a better choice for the team.
Make teams beat them, don't hand them things on a platter.
Exactly.
Sheanon?
My key to the game is going to be to start the halves better, whether it be the first half or the second half. I thought the games that the Union have lost this year, it's been because of poor starts to the first half or the second half. I thought in the first 15 minutes they got scored on. That's happened in a couple games where they've given up chances and they haven't looked like they're on the pace. So they need to do a better job of coming out prepared. I know it was a long road trip, but that's something that they knew was going into it and they have to do a better job of. So I'd like to see them start with some more energy. You can see it mostly at home that they start with energy and they're able to win games, but they have to be able to bring that energy on the road as well.
Where does that start, building that energy? Does that start in the locker room? Does that start in the bus ride over? Where does it have to spark?
It's kind of a feeling and a mentality of going into the games and wanting to start the games off well. Once you kind of fall behind in a game, it's hard to then grasp it back and try to take control of the games. They have the players and they're definitely able to do that if they need to, but it's not something that you want to get into week in, week out.
Yeah, I feel like when I used to play, it was always from a defensive play. I see they say, Sheanon making like a big tackle or, winning the ball or a second ball, and you feel that, okay, we need to be in the game right now. So I feel like from the first play, especially defensive play, from a Glesnes, from a Elliott, if you see your defensive part be like, here to fight for a big game, I think it gives a big energy for everybody. And I think in the team, Martinez is one of the guys who always kind of brings that to the team.
Let's take a look now at some of the action from match day 18 in MLS around the league presented by Torque. And what is likely now the goal of the year frontrunner, Lucas Zelarayan scored this goal from beyond the midfield in the 95th minute to stun Chicago Fire 2-1. And finally, this Franco Escobar goal in the 89th minute capped off a 3-goal second half for Houston Dynamo as they throttled LAFC by a score of 4-0. Up next, one of the Union's young studs gets the spotlight in this week's player profile as we discuss the many ways Quinn Sullivan can be used on the pitch. Union Insider returns after this. Time for this week's Chick-fil-A Nugget of the Week. The Union have tallied 30 points and a plus 11 goal differential throughout their first 17 matches this season. At the 17-match mark last season, the club had 29 points and a plus 9 goal differential. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Bimbo Bakeries USA. I'm Marisa Pilla. The Union are known for developing young talent and turning them into great players. Currently, there are 4 former Union Academy players playing in Europe. 19-year-old Quinn Sullivan is one of the next set of players making a name for himself. We sat down with the budding star for this week's player profile presented by Subaru.
I come from a very large Philadelphia soccer family, so I grew up playing soccer, started at 4 years old, and from then on I moved up and started with the academy at around 13, and worked my way up to the first team. I'd say I really decided to pursue soccer is when I quit baseball when I was around 13 years old and truly started to dedicate my sports life to soccer with the Philadelphia Union Academy. I couldn't say one person had an impact. I can say that my family as a whole, immediate and extended, has all played a very significant role in getting me to this point and where I am today. It's very simple and cliche, but the best piece of advice that I've ever received is to work hard and don't let anyone tell you can't. Prior to the game, I'll eat a chicken parm entree. That's my only pregame ritual. Besides that, playing some tech ball for the home games is always a good one.
Left there. Sullivan fires goal. 6 for the Union.
I think the most memorable moment in my Philadelphia Union career would be my first start against the Chicago Fire. 3-3 game away at Chicago, and I scored my first professional goal with a bicycle kick, so that was definitely my most memorable moment. To relax and take my mind off everything, I do my schoolwork. I'm in college at the University of Pennsylvania, so that takes up quite a bit of time. I like to go to the beach a lot as a hobby, so I'd say skimboarding is one of my biggest hobbies. The city's amazing. I mean, what's there not to love? You know, great fans, great people. I love every part of it. I wouldn't say there's one teammate that I hang out with the most, but we also like to go out golfing. So me and Brandon Craig go out golfing, Jack McGlynn. And if it's not going out and doing anything, I'll go to Jack McGlynn, Nate, and Matt Real's places and hang out with them.
On Saturday, Sullivan made his first appearance since returning from the U20 World Cup. He logged just 14 minutes against San Jose. But what do you expect to see from him going forward?
For me, I hope that he starts to get his chances and starts to get in with some more time in the game. I think he's somebody that's very versatile, and I think the Union have been looking for somebody to come off the bench and really give them a spark or really put the game away, and I think he can be that player. As I look at what they have on the bench and what they have in this roster, I'd like to see him get some more minutes and really start to develop even more as he gets more confident with those minutes.
Yeah, he has a big potential. I think he showed it, on the field, but he was really pushing, I think, before he went for the World Cup to get a starting, position in the team. Every time he came on the field, like the past few games, he was really having an impact, and it's what you look for a sub, especially a young guy, to come into a game and try to help the team winning games, scoring goals. And I think what he should do a bit better in his game to keep his progression is like his finishing. I don't think he's still there, when he has a chances to put it away. He's sometimes, misreading the way of maybe shooting at that time or taking a guy on 1v1. But we can see him playing a lot of different positions, on the right, on the left, even as a, number 9. He can really help the team. So it's great to see that we have, Quinn Sullivan on the bench. He's still very young, 19 years old. It's still, a lot of time for him to keep his progression. But I think he's on the right path right now. The way he was playing before he went to the World Cup, I think, was very positive for the team, and he was a great option for Jim Curtin to put on the field when the team needed, when Urwa or Carranza were not doing the job.
Being part of a youth national team is just a cool experience in itself, but then going to a tournament like a U20 World Cup is just incredible. What exactly will he bring back from that experience?
Hopefully it's just a learning experience for him, and hopefully it'll just build his confidence knowing that he was selected out of hundreds of players to represent our country at a U20 World Cup. It's a huge accomplishment. You see so many players go on to have huge careers from those U20 World Cups, and a lot of it gets spurred on by that. So hopefully he'll just come back and start to gain the trust of not only his teammates but also his coach to get more minutes, and that's what it's really going to take as a young guy who's 19 years old. Do they trust you? Do they feel like they can put you in a game and you respond in a positive way? And I think he has. It's a slow process, especially for attacking players in this league, but I think he's doing a good job of making sure that when he gets in, that he tries to make whatever impact he can to continue to gain minutes.
We're stepping away one last time, but when we come back, Seba and Sheanon will tell you who they're keeping an eye on next Wednesday night against Orlando. We're wrapping up this edition of Union Insider on the other side. Starting this year, every Union League match is on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Sign up today to make sure you don't miss a minute of the action. You can also check out the live whip around show MLS 360, or if you missed out on the live, you can relive every moment with full match replays. And get this, if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, you get this whole year of Season Pass content free of charge. Final segment here on Union Insider presented by Bimbo Bakeries USA, which means it's time for our All-State players to watch. Both Seba and Sheanon have selected a player to keep an eye on next Wednesday night when the Union take on Orlando City. Seba, who you got?
I'm going with Michael Ura. I don't think he has as much impact when the team play away that I think we need from him. I don't think we saw him a lot against San Jose. We saw, some sparks, sometime against Montreal when he got the 2 goals in Champions League when he played away, and I think he had a good game as well. But we need, I think, more of him like running into the channel, try to open more space for the team, so then we can play, those balls between the line. I don't see him like sometimes making those runs. I don't know if it's because he doesn't see, or people from the team, him like making those runs, but we need a bit more from Michael Roy, and I hope having him kind of like running into the channel opens the space for Gazdag, and then maybe we can find him as a second runner and he can score some goals. So I will hopefully have more from Michael Roy in Orlando, and he can be on the score sheet.
Speaking of Gazdag, Sheanon?
That's my player to watch this week is Daniel Gazdag. I think for the Union to be successful, they have to get him the ball. He's the most influential player, I think, in the attacking third. You see the things and the chances that he's able to create when he gets on the ball, and I want to see him touch the ball more than 5 times in 45 minutes or 90 minutes. So I think if he can get on the ball and do a better job of making himself available, the Union can really start to spark. hopefully Michael Uwa in there as well. This is the guy that can connect the passes and get him going.
He's definitely the metronome of that attack, but I'd be remiss not to return and take a look back at who you guys selected last weekend. Sheanon, you chose Uwa, and Seb, you chose Elliott.
Yes, Elliott was kind of a little mistaken on the first goal of Mbobise, not really at the right mark, didn't make the play, and then lost him when he scores the goal. So maybe not the best pick, but it's okay. It happens.
It happens. What do you think?
With the misplaced passes, that definitely doesn't play into Michael Uwa's game. So not too many opportunities for Michael, and hopefully Seb picking him again. If it doesn't work out, I'll pick him again next week. So we'll keep picking him until he gets going here.
I believe in Michael.
You believe in Michael. We believe in Michael as well. That'll do it for us. Union are off this weekend, but travel to Orlando next Wednesday. It's a 7:30 p.m. kick on Apple TV. Sheanon will be alongside Dave Leno for that radio call on 97.5 The Fanatic. For Seba, Sheanon, and our entire crew, I'm Marisa Pilla. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks so much for watching.